how do you show interest without being needy? That's one of the biggest questions in all of game. How do you show interest without being needy? Because every time you show interest, needy, clingy, forward, making moves, aggressive, whatever, right? Anytime you're showing disinterest, okay, that's good in a way, but you're getting further away from your objective. And the key idea, and this is one of like, if you ever have my course, The System, this is like literally the concept that entire course is based off of, is the concept of premise rather than intent, or premise rather than interest, which is I'm showing not that I am interested in you or that something's gonna happen, but instead that if something does happen between us, it'll be man to woman, okay? That's the idea of interest without being needy in the premise sense, right? So if I say, you and I are not gonna get along, or actually, here's an even more clear one, right? You say something like, I'm totally breaking up with you for that, right? I'm breaking up with you is a negative thing. But in order to break up, I'm saying our nature of our relationship is a romantic one. So I'm making the man-to-woman statement. I'm moving it in a man-to-woman direction, even though what I'm doing is in the negative, okay? Similarly, you can pull in the negative, right? You can do pulling things in the negative, right? Listen, you can come back with me, but like I have to get up in the morning, so I'm kicking you out at 4 in the morning. I mean, not kicking you out, that's rude. I'll ask you to go and get you a taxi at 4 in the morning, right? You say something like that, that's in the negative, right? Or listen, I can come hang out with you a little bit. One question though, this is very important. Do you have food at your place? Like we can go to a diner, we can go wherever, like I just have to eat. So I'll come back with you, but only, it can be Cheerios, I don't care. But do you have some form of sustenance? Because otherwise I'm not coming back with you. Right? You see how that changes the entire like.
You always do that in the beginning, right? You always do the kind of push-pull thing in the beginning, but.
So first of all, delete the word always from your vocabulary.
Oh, okay.
That's number one. But yeah, there's push-pulls in the beginning. There's push-pulls later on. Okay. You can push-pull the attraction. You can push-pull the close, right? You can disqualify the attraction. You can disqualify the close. That make sense? Yeah. Also, a theme, and this is one of those things. It's interesting in game because you need to kind of learn to be a beginner effectively, then learn to be intermediate, and then learn to be advanced. And so don't try and jump to advanced as a beginner because you'll fuck yourself up. It's okay to be intermediate and you need to go through that phase. But one of the big transitions between intermediate and advanced is the question of who's chasing who. Flipping the script and getting the girl to chase you. Now the reason you have to be intermediate before advanced is you need to learn how to escalate in a confident way, and you need to learn how to generally be charming. And so that like when the girl knows you want to sleep with her, she still is charmed enough that she's okay with it, right? Once you're at that stage, you can start flipping the script. But if you start trying to flip the script before you're charming and before you have that kind of winning vibe, then it just comes off as pushy and it comes off as incongruent and weird. Let's say you had two professors in school, right? You seem like an educated guy, yeah? Okay, you had 2 professors in school. One professor just gives out an A to everybody. It's just a very easy A, right? The other professor is very, very hard, very difficult, doesn't give a lot of, it fails people, that kind of stuff, right? So in the easy A class, you get your A, your whatever. In the other class, you bust your ass, you work super hard, you get an A-. Which one do you value more?
I think the difficult professor, yeah.
Exactly, right? He hurt your GPA compared to the other guy, just slightly, right? It's not quite as good for your GPA, but yeah, you value it because you earned it. It means something to you on an instinctive level, okay? As people, we value what is scarce, what we have to work for, what we have to earn. If things are given too easily, we distrust them. Let's say I'm selling a car, and you think the car is worth like 30 grand, but you don't know what I'm going to offer for it, right? Or I'm going to charge you for it. You're like, hey, how much for your car? And I'm like, 1,000. What do you think about that car? You're like, that fucking thing is not that thing's going to explode when I put the key in it, right? Your value associated with the car has come way down because I set a low price on it, right? You thought it was a $30,000 car until you heard the price. Right? And so part of the reason push-pull works is because you're pricing yourself. If you're going and asking the girl, or you're going to the girl and be like, you're so cute, you're so hot, I love you, will you have me? You're pricing yourself very low, and the girl's not valuing you very highly, all right, because you're very bought in. When you give a push-pull, I'll be like, I love you, but please don't ever do that again, right? When there's that little bit of tension, a little bit of, oh, I don't completely have him, oh, I have to earn it, the value put on you is much, much, much higher because of that scarcity. So that's part of it. Part of it is you're pricing yourself. The other part of it is association, right? Typically, when this girl's gone through life, like maybe she's in high school, right? Let's say she's like medium to high tier in high school. She's cute, popular, but not like the in crowd. All right. When she's talking to the nerdy crowd or the less popular crowd, they're probably really nice to her and they would like to have her as a friend. But then like the super popular cheerleaders and football players and whatever, they're kind of like dismissive and could like, fuck off, you can't come to our party. Like, psh, please, you're very basic, right? Right? The people that are dismissing her are the high value people that she would wish that she was as cool as. The people that are trying for rapport are the low value people, right? So not only is that behavior indicative of social, what actually happens socially, but also she has this lifelong association of the people that don't want her are the more desirable people. People that don't want her, don't need her, are the high value people, both from what she's seen. So there's that as well. And then the last part of it is what he mentioned earlier, outcome independence and self-amusement, right? The willingness to be able to say something negative, the willingness to be able to walk away, the willingness to say something that you might reject shows I'm not clingy, I'm not attached, I'm not needy, right? And just keep in mind, needy and clingy are the two things you just don't want to be. Those are two of the lowest value things ever, right? And so by having a push-pull, it allows you to show interest without being needy. It solves that paradox of game. There has to be a light at the end of the tunnel. At a certain point, if you just push the girl away and push the girl away and push the girl away, eventually she may give up. Or eventually, like I've done that, where I like just completely dismiss, and eventually the girl's like, oh, fuck this isn't worth my time, this is never going anywhere. And she'll get frustrated and leave. Yeah, you do have to give some positive. It can't just be negative, negative, negative. But you would be surprised how much negative you can do in some cases. Right? I have tried to push it. It's a good advanced exercise is to actually see just how far you can push before the girl snaps, right? 'Cause I've had some of those. When I was pushing, I had a situation where like I teased the girl and she loved it. I teased her some more, she loved it even more. I teased the girl, she got really into me and clingy and followed me around. I teased her some more, she loved me. And then I teased her one more time. It wasn't even a big tease, and she slammed her wine glass down, shattered, and is like, "Fuck you, I'm leaving," and ran to the bathroom and never came back, right? Because the same thing that was working, it worked. It's like a rubber band, right? You pull it, more tension, and then it snaps and there's no more tension.